I remember times when I had to take baths with bottled waters. I had to do my homework under candlelight because the lights were off, because couldn't afford to pay the light bill. There was times when running from the repo man where, we parked our car down the street because we couldn't afford to pay our car note, but we also couldn't afford to lose our only form of transportation. So we would walk home blocks and leave our car by someone else's house. And I couldn't control those things as a young kid. Mm-hmm. And I remember at our very lowest, being homeless, living out of a motel, being, me, my parents and my brothers in this motel, and it's room 108, as I always talk about when I share my story.
All right. Well, welcome to the Darren Woodson Show. If you see, we're not physically light because our guest stepped in and is still way more swole than our normal host that sits in this chair. Yeah. But we are a little bit light today without Darren, but it's good for everyone that's listening because it's going to be a better show because of it, for sure. But today, hey, really, really pumped about this one. This is a good friend. Our guest today and I were teammates in Houston, is where we first connected, and then he moved to the Dallas area. Gosh, just right after retirement, before retirement, right?
After.
It was after, okay. Yeah. But then we've connected through ministries together, and man, we've just been running the same circles, and is a great friend and really excited, and has one of the most exceptional stories out there. And we talk about this show, we talk about the encouragement, we talk about the resilience, talk about all the things that it takes to maximize this one opportunity that we've been given to live this life. This is the example. Our guest today has recognized a calling and a gift that he's been given from God, and has taken full advantage in every opportunity. Because if you walk by him on the street, outside of his massive biceps, you'd be like, there's no way this dude is a Pro Bowl running back.
No dude, that's not right. Why is he talking trash like that?
I use his lines, by the way.
It's my fullback.
That's right. But this is my guy. We got Justin Forsett, Pro Bowl running back, 9 years in the league. And you all would know him in Seattle, had some time in Houston. If you remember that Thanksgiving game against Detroit, the invisible elbow on the turf. But then his time in Baltimore, and absolutely crushed it up there, and had some adversity there that we'll talk about as well, just from injuries and battling back. And man, his football journey has been amazing. His career post-football, man, you talk about the entrepreneur lifestyle, the things that we're going to talk about there. But again, what I really, really am excited for y'all to hear is what led him to those points. The journey there, the commitment, his faith, the man he is, the husband he is, the father that he is, the friend that he is, man. I'm really excited.
What's going through your head when you sit here and listen to something like that?
I mean, I don't pay him anything, so this is really good to hear that he's, saying these kind words to me today, because usually I don't get that.
But Justin Forsett, man, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you, man. Pleasure being here. Always love the opportunity to share and encourage and inspire. Anyway.
All right, now I'm going to humble you, but how does it feel to be the 176th guest that we've had on this show?
Yeah,
as close as we are.
We were talking. I was just talking about that, before we came on. It's like, man, it took this long for me to get on here. So somebody must have canceled last minute, and I was the fill-in. I was always on backup.
Always the fallback. Right?
Yeah,
it's always
just in case I got a guy.
Always the backup homecoming date, right?
Exactly.
But man, we're really excited. So Justin, let's start at the beginning. We really like to set the stage for the things that you've done on a really big scale. But let's set the stage where you grew up, because your humble beginnings with your family in Florida, and then some time in Dallas. Walk us through that journey, and then how it got to where we're at today.
Yeah, man. Start off very humble beginnings. Small town living. Grew up in a a town that was known for phosphate mining. So you graduate high school, you go right into the mining industry. Everybody knows everyone's business. It is a 2-light traffic town, one main highway that ran through the city, and country life. Grew up in a financially unstable home with both parents in the home. I was a middle child with two other brothers, a younger and older brother, and just fighting for everything that we had. Never owned anything, bounced from place to place, never owned a home. I remember times when I had to take baths with bottled waters. I had to do my homework under candlelight because the lights were off, because couldn't afford to pay the light bill. There was times when running from the repo man where, we parked our car down the street because we couldn't afford to pay our car note, but we also couldn't afford to lose our only form of transportation. So we would walk home blocks and leave our car by someone else's house. And I couldn't control those things as a young kid. Mm-hmm. And I remember at our very lowest, being homeless, living out of a motel, being... me, my parents and my brothers in this motel, and it's room 108, as I always talk about when I share my story, going into this room in this motel at the edge of town, with blue-green vomit-licking carpet, 2 full-size beds to fit all 5 of us, a large window that overlooked that main highway I talked about earlier, that ran through our city, and begging and pleading my dad to park our car in the back, because even as a 12-year-old, I didn't want my classmates to see me in this condition. I didn't want to have to do any extra explanations on why we were in this situation. So at that point, I made a declaration to myself that I wasn't going to allow that moment to define me, but refine me and push me closer to my dream and the goals that I had in my life. And I was determined not to allow my kids, my future kids at that time, to deal with those same things that I was dealing with as that 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid. So saw a guy named Barry Sanders one day on on TV.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he's sort of a big deal. You should check him out. I saw him on playing one Sunday afternoon with the Detroit Lions on a terrible team, but he was this short guy like myself that I could relate to. Dipping and dashing through defenses. He was electrifying the crowds in the stadiums that he was in, and he looked like he was having a lot of fun. And I was like, okay, that's going to be my way out. That's going to be my avenue. And so my mom would always quote the verse out of James, "Faith without works is dead." So I knew I had extreme faith. I believe that God gave me certain gifts and abilities, and I knew if I trusted him that anything that I wanted to go after, I could have if he saw fit. So I put in the time and the work, but as soon as I stepped on the field, it was everyone telling me my limitations. So he's too short, he's too small, he's not big enough, all these things. And that thing followed me all the way from Pop Warner to middle school to high school, and got to high school my freshman year and had some success there. My sophomore year, and then my parents, we uprooted. My dad got into, he was in ministry. There was an opportunity for him to join the Potter's House staff here in Dallas with Bishop T.D. Jakes. And so we picked up and moved the family out here. I went to a small private school, and as soon as I touched down, I would hear those same criticisms I heard my entire life. He's too short, too small, especially here in Texas.
Yeah, I was going to say, Florida's a good football state, great football state. A lot of good players come out of
Athletes,
there. But Texas, right? Yeah. Texas, live and breathe it. But back up real quick. Was football, before you saw Barry Sanders, was football already like, oh, hey, this is what I love doing, I have fun doing it? Or was seeing him, is that what kind of pushed you towards the sport?
Well, I always loved playing football, but I just love sports, period, because I grew up in the day where, wasn't a ton of video games, right? It was, we had, there was things out there we couldn't afford, those things, but we were playing outside. Yeah. In Florida, at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you're outside. Kids are out there playing basketball. We're playing football on the concrete, on the roads, in the streets, in the grass. Pick them up, bust them up is what we called it. And so we were playing those types of games, and I just knew, I had a knack and I had a gift at an early age that I could play this thing, and seeing a guy like that was kind of validation for me.
Nice. Okay, so you come to Dallas, and walk us through that. So where'd you go to school in Dallas, and kind of the background around that?
So, sorry, can we back up just a second? Because you talked about your, you being embarrassed about, being in the motel room. what was your concept of what? Obviously, you knew that you guys didn't have as much as others, but how did you handle that as a kid? What were your thoughts about that? What was just going through your mind during that whole process?
Yeah, I mean, my parents did a really good job. This was a really down season, even beyond the normal adversity that we had faced, and just hit hard times, and we had to be in this situation for a temporary time, and always strong faith. My dad, I'm a pastor's kid, preacher kid, and so the faith was there, knowing that like, okay, God is in control, and we know we're gonna make it out of this, and there are gonna be brighter days ahead. So that was kind of the mindset. I mean, I was in tune and tapped into my faith at a very early age. So I felt that even in the midst of adversity and struggle and trial, that God can make a way, and He's with us every step of the way. So.
What's cool about that is you talk about faith. I mean, there's no evidence, physical evidence that, hey, we are going to make it out of this. Yeah. It was faith. You guys were living by faith.
Yeah.
That whole time.
Yeah, I mean, and having faith is not like an absence of just like struggle or an absence of even worry at times, but it's just knowing that at the end of it all, like there's a bigger plan, and like, God has a purpose for it all. So
that's good.
That's awesome. Yeah. But at that age, did you know different? I mean, or it is like, hey, this is just kind of how it is. I know you mentioned that, hey, look, I don't want to explain to my friends. Yeah. So you had the awareness of it, but like,
sure.
Was it something that was like, hey, look, I mean, this is life. This is kind of normal. Like we talk about with Darren. Mm-hmm. Darren grew up. He's like, dude, this is it. Like you grow up, and look, if water gets shut off, I gotta go across the street and I gotta shower with the hose behind the Quickie Mart.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was. I mean, it was a bit of a difference for us because it was out there, right? It was all those other things that, we can handle behind the scenes and go family, get what we need if we didn't have enough groceries and things like that. But this was something that was more like, okay, you're living out of a motel for, extended period of time, and people are passing by, and you're just like, now I may have to explain, why I'm here, instead of like, if there, other issues, I could just kind of hide.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So you guys moved to Dallas. Your dad had an opportunity. Did financial stability come with the move? Did those things improve?
Nah, I mean, it got better for sure, but it wasn't like we hit the...
Sure, yeah.
So it was definitely a better opportunity for my dad. He ended up, he was helping us coaching at the school that I was at as well. He was still doing a lot of catering, because when I was in Florida, we had a barbecue business at a restaurant, so there was entrepreneurs, and my parents were. So moved that out here, had some opportunities, some gigs. So that was good. And just for us, instead of, looking at maybe graduating, going to phosphate mining, or working at Publix grocery store that was headquartered in the neighboring city, it really looked like there's a future for, my brothers and I. And it's like, okay, we can go out get to the next level, because we saw people for the first time really going after their dreams, and like they could go to college and have opportunities.
Isn't that so interesting? Just the change of perspective when it's, you see that it's possible, right? That's a big problem is, kids from inner city or from, lower income areas, a big problem is they don't see opportunity. They don't see examples of people that have made it. So it's interesting that you say that you were now able to visualize a future.
And I had an uncle that was kind of, my role model growing up, and it was my mom's brother, that he was the first person I saw go to college. And he had a full ride scholarship to Rutgers University. That was the first place, our first college I ever visited growing up. And having that there was also great inspiration. It's like, okay, like, if he can make it out.
Yeah, that's a family member. That's a family member. Somebody close.
Somebody close that, an uncle that I seen him work. He put in time. Like he had a Nintendo in his room, and he had a bench, a curl bar, and he had a bench seat, and the bar where you could work out. So I would follow him as much as I could.
Oh, that's awesome.
And do so. So I had an example there that close, but on a broader scale, like seeing like, okay, this is like the way of life. People go and then they go to college, and they try to go chase their dreams.
So what was your relationship with hard work at that point? the grind, because you're one of the most disciplined guys that I've been around as far as, hey, just doing things right. Hey, you're in the weight room. I'm in the meeting room. I'm doing all the things that I need to do to take care of myself and my body. So what was your relationship early on? Was it your uncle seeing that, like the physical hard work of it? Where did that come from for you?
Oh man, it was definitely my family, my uncle. For sure, Uncle Kevin was a big part of that. Seeing him work and run miles instead of taking the car to the grocery store, he would run into town. It was a lot.
I'm
of
just
miles.
thinking
What a
logistically.
stud.
I'm just thinking logistically. How do you get those groceries home? Like,
Well,
You don't buy much.
So if he's going there to like maybe get a Gatorade, it was just like a stop for him.
got it. Okay.
But it was awesome. It was awesome to see that. And then my parents, like, I watched them, like, whether it's the restaurant, my mom working in a blood bank. Like, I didn't really stay with my parents like that growing up because they were working so hard. So, like, this was at a time when, you could be at 12 years old, 10 years old, you can be left alone at home and nobody's going to call anybody. Like,
what do they call it? What do they call it?
Latchkey
kids. Yeah. But that was us. I mean, that was not that big of a deal. It was like, all right, walk home from school, and then when we get home from work, then
we'll see you there.
We'll make dinner.
Leave you in the car. Like, I'm going in. Like, can't leave the kid in the car right now.
Oh my goodness! You filled up gas and your kids were in the car. What?
Exactly. So that was kind of I stayed with my grandparent, my aunt and my grandma were people that kind of took care of me when my parents were out working. So I saw that display of just like work ethic and discipline.
What did your parents say about? I'm trying to find the way to phrase this, like blame, like responsibility. Like, did they blame other people for their situation? What was their relationship with that?
It was like no excuses in our house. We didn't know any better. It was just like, at that time, they were working and this is what we had. And we made the most of what we had.
Love that.
It wasn't, any excuses of, any outside factors. I'm sure there were at times, but
yeah, absolutely.
got it done.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so in Dallas and you're in Arlington, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Arlington, Grace Prep.
Yep. So you're going to school there. You said the naysayers, right? You said, hey, he's too small, he's too this. You come here, and what was the experience like starting with Texas football?
Yeah, it was much of the same when I came off the plane because I'm not wowing people, when I come off of a bus, for the most part.
Except for, he's like, dang, that's a good looking dude, right?
Yeah. I was always freakishly good looking. So I
was stealing him up for that one.
But my coach at the time, my head coach, he was actually trying to get me to move to receiver. Like, he wanted me to be a slot receiver. Thought I'd be a good fit there, and just from the size and speed and quickness and things like that. But I was just like, nah, I'm a running back through and through.
I'm gonna tote that thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna tote the tater. So, but it ended up, I did well early on. Had success. Back-to-back state championships.
What division were they in when you played? Do you remember?
TAPS. It was.
Oh, you were the TAP. Okay.
Yeah. So private.
Yeah.
Private school league, and we were 4A. I want to say.
How many kids are we talking in a school at the time?
I'll just say my graduating class was 60.
60 people.
Okay.
60 people,
Yeah. I've heard of smaller, but that's pretty small.
Yeah. Any smaller, you're probably playing 6-man.
Yeah. Right. No, that's true. Yeah.
So so that was your senior year, right? Mm-hmm. You were here. Okay, so after your junior, typically like the big recruiting starts your junior year. Mm-hmm. Was there any interest coming out of your junior year, conversations you were having with teams?
There were a few because we were doing well as a team, and then we had a number 4 receiver in the country. Lance was a guy that came with me to Texas.
Okay,
was one of my best friends, and then our quarterback was ranked 25 in the country or somewhere around there.
Okay,
so they were bringing in scouts.
Got it.
But they were looking at them and not necessarily me. So they would give me some oh yeah, we'll check him out. We'll look at him. He looks okay.
That was, you go to the weight room and you're on the college mailer list, right? Hey,
exactly.
How many letters you get today? Hey, just a stock letter.
Exactly.
Unless your name was handwritten on the front, it didn't mean anything, right?
Exactly. I got a lot of those.
Yes.
A lot of those.
Washington was really good at sending letters out.
So I had So, I mean, no one was really looking at me. I mean, I was 2-star recruit coming out. I went to all of the camps my junior year. I went to Texas. I went to Florida. I went to A&M, TCU. Nothing would stick. Then I got some interest in, like, people like San Jose State. They didn't offer. Then I got interest from UConn. They actually offered and then took it back after my visit. So,
bastards.
I don't know.
Dang.
It was
Just something I said?
I don't know what happened. I actually ended up meeting the coach again while playing in the league in my last year.
Oh, that felt good. I bet.
Randy Edsel from UConn. But yeah, I didn't have any scholarships. After my senior year, I went to the All-Star game. It was private league All-Star game at Jesuit right down the street from here. And I can't remember the name of the coach there, but he was just like, man, you're not going anywhere. This is crazy. Let me put some calls in. So
This was your all-star coach. This wasn't even your high school coach.
No, this was my all-star. Yeah, this is my all-star team coach. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, we sent out tape to everywhere because, I mean, we had access to schools because of the two players that we had in the success. But yeah, he was just like, man, we got to get you somewhere.
So what's your mindset though going through this process? Like nobody's really showing much interest. I've got this big dream and this plan, but the two aren't connecting. So what's your mindset during this whole process?
Man, as I look back at it today, I was like, man, I was crazy. Like, what was I like? I just had like crazy faith from a young age.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I was always going to be the exception. Mm-hmm. Like, so when the teacher or would bring someone in and say, you know, less than 1% of you guys in this room are going to make it to college, and then less than that is going to make it to the NFL. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, thank you. I appreciate that information, but I'm the exception. Yeah, I'm going to be that guy.
Hey, you 99% need to listen to him.
Exactly.
See, that was always my mindset too. And I don't know where that comes from. Where do you think it comes from for you?
I don't know. I think that, like, you know, one, like, my faith definitely played a part of that. So I think that anything is possible. Like, it doesn't matter any situation. Like, I would always speak like, you know, I told guys in middle school that I was going to play varsity my freshman year. Like, I'm not going to play JV football. I'm going to play varsity. Yeah. I ended up playing varsity. I would tell guys, like, we would just sign up for these AAU tournaments, YBOA tournaments at the time growing up. I'm like, the winner goes to Puerto Rico or Hawaii. We're going to Hawaii.
We're going.
Yeah. We're going, no matter what. So that was just like my mind, the competitive drive. Like, I'm the exception, and that's what it was going to be.
Love that.
And so going into my senior year, after senior season, no scholarship offers, I was like, man, something's going to happen.
How many people laughed at you, though, at that point?
Oh, man, there was a lot of people that were just like, man, you got to do something. Like, we got to, you know, I knew there was going to be, like, opportunities for lower tier colleges, maybe like junior colleges. If I wanted to go to playing like MEAC or historically black college, there could be some opportunities there. But I just like been on like, I'm going D1 and I'm gonna play D1 football. And yeah.
So walk us through that process, that last process, right? That roller coaster that you went at the end.
So I ended up the coach of Jesuit set me up with Notre Dame because it was a big tie-in right there, Dallas Jesuit and Notre Dame. And then they liked the film. They liked what they saw. They said, Justin, we're going to offer you a scholarship. They sent down the running back coach.
And this is after your senior season.
After my senior season.
So typically, just for those of you who are unfamiliar with the recruiting process, they typically will fill their scholarships for sure by the end of the season, your senior season. Typically, they know who because the recruiting trips happen that fall. If not junior year, usually you get commits like late junior year, and then you go through your senior season, and then you sign. Unless you're like one of the 5 stars where you're just like getting everybody to like bid.
Yep.
I mean, they're not going to obviously give anything.
Right.
Get them to bid.
Bid what?
No.
Yeah.
But I mean, we did it clean. Nowadays, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
But after the senior season, if you're not locked in with a group, and surely if you haven't had conversations with them, it's hard. It's really, really hard.
It's unlikely.
Oh, not hard. It's impossible.
Yeah. So they sent down the running back coach, Buzz Preston. I remember him meeting me at my office, my coach's office in high school, and talking was like, yeah, we like to offer you a scholarship, man. This is, you coming to Notre Dame.
Gosh, that's Notre Dame. That's not like, hey, UTEP offered me. That's Notre Dame.
This is Golden Domer. This is Touchdown Jesus.
No offense,
Rudy.
UTEP, by the way.
Yeah, no offense to you. Yeah. So I'm thinking like this is like the stars are aligning. I'm like, I'm the Black Rudy. It only makes sense that I'm going to Notre Dame, right? So that is like my mindset is like, yeah, God is just he'd work this thing out perfectly.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then a week before signing day, Notre Dame called and told me they didn't need me. So heartbroken, crushed.
What a high to like.
Oh man, unbelievable. I remember. I mean, we were living in Arlington at the time, South Arlington at the time, and lived in a home that had a basement, which is uncommon, out here. And I was living. My room was in the basement, and I just remember 17-year-old kid rolling down into that basement right by my bed, crying my eyes out, like literally just crying out. Getting on my knees and praying to God. I was like, man, God, I'm doing everything right. I'm the one that's going to Bible study. I'm the one everybody's going partying and drinking over at the Parks Mall. I'm doing 1,000 push-ups and sit-ups a night. I'm going out training on Sundays after the games. Like I'm in the heat by myself, pushing myself to these limits. Like I'm going to church every Sunday. Like, God, why is this happening to me? Like, you got to show me something. I can't keep doing this without you showing me something now. And that was my position, to God at that point. Like, you got to show me something. I remember it was one of those, it was a pivotal moment, not only just for career, football aside, but just like my spiritual journey. Because at that moment, God spoke to me in a way that I never had up until that point. Because I literally had these books on the table. I flipped open. I said, God, you got to show me something. And it literally landed on Proverbs 3. So I'm going through Proverbs 3 and those first couple of verses, Proverbs 3, 5 through 6, where it says, like, trust in the Lord God with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Acknowledge him in all your ways, and he'll direct your path. And I stopped there, and I was like, I felt like this warm sensation on the inside of my body. And I felt like God was wrapping his arms around me. And I felt this peace that I never felt in my life.
I'm getting chills, man.
Like I couldn't explain it right at that moment. And as a 17-year-old kid, I'm just like, at that moment, not even 30 minutes ago, the worst news I've gotten in my life, to like, okay. Like, I don't know, nothing on the outside it had changed, but something had changed on the inside of me. And I just had a peace, and I just got to excel at what I can control. I'm going to continue to work. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen, break. And then that was February. We sent out some tapes out to the West Coast of California, and then Cal Berkeley gave us a call and said, hey, we want to offer you a scholarship after their spring game. Wow. So
after their spring game.
So they've already signed.
I was going to say signing day was February, right?
Yeah, February. Yeah. It was a week before signing day. I got the news from Notre Dame.
Oh my gosh. I mean, how was that? I mean, they called and were like, hey, we want to give you a scholarship. Like, I mean.
Yeah, he came down. Buzz Preston, the running back coach, came down and said, we'll offer you a scholarship. So we were waiting for us, like he said, we're going to bring you guys up for a trip, and we'll finalize everything. But you have our scholarship offers from.
Well, where was Cal on your radar in this whole? I mean,
I knew nothing about Cal.
Knew nothing about Cal.
Never seen anything Cal related at that point. I grew up in Florida and Texas, so Miami, Florida State. Florida.
Until I moved to Texas, you realize how hard it was in Pac-10, what it was back then. How hard it was to watch Pac-10 games because they just typically are late. Like nights. we're watching SEC, Big 12, ACC. Like that's what we're watching over here, right? And then it's like, oh, maybe catch a West Coast game. If, the movie's over and it's still on.
Exactly. Watch a 10:00 game.
Hope you guys are enjoying this episode with Justin Forsett. Man, what a great guy and an awesome story. Can't wait to reveal the last part of the conversation. But before we get there, wanted to thank our sponsor, Choctaw Casino and Resort. We mentioned a few weeks ago that we spent the night there at their brand new expansion and had just an unbelievable time. That night, my wife and I and Tyler and his wife ate at 1832 Steakhouse, which is the steakhouse up there. And, man, it was phenomenal. We're talking massive steaks. We're talking unbelievable appetizers, unbelievable sides. It was such a good experience, top-notch service. So get yourself up there to Choctaw Casino Resort. Check out the new expansion. Check out the great restaurants. And then always check out the great concerts they have coming on this fall. So get yourself up to Choctaw. It's guaranteed to be a great time. Now back to the episode.
Okay, so springtime. So now you're getting ready to graduate, and then you go, right?
Yeah,
so academically though, Cal is not easy. It's the UC schools are hard to get into. So how was your academic journey through high school?
It was great. I was a good student,
Oh, yeah.
3.0 student.
I expected that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I didn't have too much issues
Okay.
on the academic side.
Okay, so excuse me, go to Cal. Now, excuse me. Berkeley is a unique place.
Oh, yeah, very unique.
Coming from
I'm just sitting here thinking about your moment with God, the peace, and then, hey, I'm going to send you to Berkeley.
Yeah, I know, right? I know, right? I mean, like, that's why I don't question God anymore. Like, even like that moment showed me enough, like what I need to know, like God is faithful. Like, and he knows what you need. Like what I wanted, if I would have went to Notre Dame, hindsight, knowing that they had a coach there named Tyrone Willingham at the time. If I would have went there, he was fired the next year. He ended up going to a school, University of Washington in Pac-10. So then I ended up seeing him a couple times a year. And so they brought in another guy, Charlie Weiss, was after him, I believe. And so they were bringing in different type of, their guys at that point. So guys put me in a place right where I needed to be, where I was wanted. And I mean, lifelong friendships, partnerships, my wife at Cal. So
Tedford was your coach, right?
Tedford, yep. Tedford.
Yeah. Fresno
Where
State.
Aaron Rodgers was my quarterback.
Yeah.
Freshman year.
Well,
was
so
it really?
when you went, had they? Because I know y'all had a great run for 5 or 6 years, and maybe even longer than that. You'd probably argue that, but like there was 5 or 6 years that your era, Marshawn, obviously Aaron when he was there. I mean, there was that period. Were they that when you went, or was that the start of it?
They were just kind of like, so Aaron Rodgers, that was his second year.
Okay.
So that was his junior, maybe his junior year coming from Butte.
Okay.
And we were ranked number 11 coming in to
your
my
freshman
season.
Okay, gotcha.
So we were on the radar, like, okay, these guys.
This is a good team.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get there. What's life like? What's the transition? I mean, the I don't know, the shock. Because I mean, you get into Berkeley now and like Telegraph Street. I mean, it's different folks out there now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first day class was a nude protest outside in the rain, and it is like people you don't want to see nude. Like it's 70-year-olds and up.
Oh, you said nude. I thought you said
nude.
New, N-E-W. You're saying
no.
nude.
I was like, yeah, no, that sounds about right. Yeah, there's probably a new one every day.
Naked protest.
Naked protest, yes.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I mean that was kind of like my first day of school, like
Wow.
And then
What were they protesting? Clothes?
I don't know. Actually, I think it was some labor, something overseas, not even here. But it was protests constantly.
They just fit. Yeah,
That's just what they do.
It's a whole thing. Yeah,
It's a class at Berkeley.
Beautiful place.
Campus.
Like
cut up into the hills of the Bay Area. It's beautiful. Campus.
Is it a suburb of San Francisco? Forgive my ignorance.
Yeah,
Berkeley
it's
is.
on the other side of the bridge.
Yeah.
Mostly tied to Oakland.
Okay,
so
Oakland.
Oakland is the neighboring city.
Yeah.
But beautiful place, amazing weather. Way better than Texas. Like, right? You say high of 80, 70 degrees is like year round. Just incredible. Amazing people there. But again, like you said, like Telegraph Street, people smoking weed out in the open, drugs, people yelling, crazy things, messages on the street at all times. But an incredible place. I wouldn't change it. Like I met so many different people. Like I personally was kind of sheltered growing up in the South and the Bible Belt. I started meeting people like whether it was, Indian, Asian, people of the belief systems, atheists, people that were Muslim faith, people that were, Hindu, like all these different religions, like I never experienced before in my life. Like if you hear about or see on TV, but it forced me to really understand why I believe what I believe, because I had these conversations where people really knew their faith. That's why I tell people now, like when people worry about like my kids gonna go to school, and a lot of kids that are from Christian background, they go to school and they lose their faith. And it's not necessarily true, because I believe that kids go to school and they lose their parents' faith. They never lose their faith because they never owned it for themselves. It was like they were just going through a routine and never had that personal relationship with God. So I had a personal relationship, but it forced me to dig deeper into why, it was this truth. Other than the other reasons beyond, this was my personal experience. And that was it. Like.
Yeah, religion aside, how good for you was that situation, just to be around so many different people? Oh,
it was amazing. Just diversity of thought, just being able to interact and relate to people, hear different stories and backgrounds, and a lot of similarities. A lot of, honestly, more alike than not.
Yeah.
It was just really good for me to open, and for me to be independent, college student, taking care of my own things, way out on the West Coast with not no family near me. It was good for me just to mature.
Yeah. See, I love that, man, and I've heard pastors say Dallas is one of the most dangerous places to be a Christian, and I've just and you get in the Bible Belt because there's so much everybody says that they are, right, but there's complacency because you're never challenged. You really aren't, and then now you go to a new environment where your faith, your ideology, whatever it is, right? You're actually being challenged, which makes you actually have to think about it, right? Yep. And not just, like you said, rely on, hey, what I've been told.
Yep, exactly.
And you're actually having conversations, and you're actually, hey, I've got a question. Like I've got to go look something up, or I've got to go research it, or I've got to actually think through it myself. I think that's awesome. Yeah, that's absolutely. How was the team dynamic in Cal? Like, you've still got some great friends that you've got from those teams, but what was that dynamic coming into a locker room?
It was awesome, man. It was one of the reasons, like, I was just, because Cal was in town a couple of weeks ago playing TCU, and
how'd that go?
Oh, we lost. I'm sure you know that already.
I actually didn't. I did not, but I wanted to see you squirm.
Yeah, we lost.
It's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, we lost. It was a close game, though. But it was good to see them, because I saw the same people that like made me fall in love with the place. Like,
still same staff and
not the same staff, but some people still on staff that was there. That, like, whether it was like the team, like director, player engagement director, or secretaries, like they were.
Wait, hold on. You had different people for those jobs?
Yeah.
You don't have the equipment manager / trainer /
no,
player engagement director / tutor /
that was my experience.
Yeah, you had one guy for all of those jobs at Fresno.
It was a real university. It was a real.
Okay.
It was one of those real ones.
It was a real Northern California university.
Yeah, exactly. It's not something I can. I'm not talking like a valley school or anything like that. We're talking about.
Touche.
I do got to ask, not to derail too much, but what was it like? Like, what were Aaron Rodgers, and you said play with Marshawn Lynch? What were they like in college?
Oh, man, it was amazing. I mean, again, just talk about the people that I've met there and made me fall in love with the place. I mean, they were just so welcoming. Like, I was the only Texas kid, only kid from the South on the team, period. And they took me in. I mean, like, open arms. Like, Marshawn, there was a 50-50 chance that he was not going to make it into Cal. Like, they didn't know if he was going to have the right grades to go in the first year. So when he got in the campus course, I heard he was number 2 running back in the country at the time, coming out of high school. So
and he's from Oakland, right?
He's from Oakland, hometown kid. So, but just that instantly we hit it off like very different people. Also, a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
But just.
Isn't that such a good? I mean, not to get too deep, but that's such a good lesson, right? On paper, you two don't really have a lot of similarities. You wouldn't think, right, with your backgrounds. Yep. And you said he was just an awesome. I mean, how we can all learn from that.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, incredible guy, man. And God just given me the ability to really relate to a lot of different people too. So meeting, Marshawn Lynch, we were roommates our freshman year. Aaron Rodgers, I remember the first time meeting him, and like he met me down on the field. he came to me and just started playing catch with me. He was like, man, I watch your tape, man. It's incredible. Like,
Really?
he's like, he knew my stats and everything already. And he was just like, he was that guy that I was like, okay, this guy is different.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is special. Like, he's just, everybody on the team mattered to him. Like, and he knew stuff about, like, weird facts.
Yeah.
Like, he was that guy in the locker room. And, but awesome guy. Helped me. Every team, like, when I got there in the, what would it be, summertime, I stayed in a frat house, and like the football team kind of took care of each other in that manner, like to show me where I need to eat, places I need to go, where I don't need to go, and so it was unbelievable.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
So, what were your first 2 years like from a playing time perspective at Cal? Because you come in and you're like, hey, look, I'm going to be the exception. So do you come in and be like, hey, I'm coming in as a freshman, and I'm going to make an impact?
Listen how you're you knew you were coming in and playing.
I was going to start. I was going to start. That was the goal.
I'm going to skip everything and go straight to the league.
So we had a guy, JJ Arrington, who ended up getting drafted in the second round.
I remember
he was
Colts, right?
He was where was he? Arizona.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Cardinals,
Okay.
and then I know he went somewhere else too.
Yeah.
But I got there thinking, okay, I'm gonna play this guy, JJ Arrington, who's a starting running back. His face is on his poster on the stadium. Doak Walker, Heisman candidate as well with Aaron. He was like, these were the two top players. I'm gonna find a way on the field. And then I also got the number two ranked running back in high school. In at the same time. And
who was also signed before May.
Signed. He
So you and Marshawn, same class.
Same class.
Okay.
Same class. And but I was just determined to work. So when we got there, we got our playbook and things. Like, I would take copies. Went back here during the summertime, and I used to do a paper route around Dallas. My mom and dad, we would deliver papers around 2 a.m. in the morning to like these luxury hotels like Crescent. Like, I was there for our anniversary, and I was just like, man, my wife, I was just talking like, man, I was delivering papers.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
Full circle here, man. That's wild.
And it was not good experience, because I'm in there late at night. Yeah. No one's opening the door. It's just
and Uptown Dallas in 2003, 2004 was very different than it is today.
Exactly. So, I mean, so during that paper route time, we were going through all Dallas, delivering these papers. I had my light. I think it was, it was weird. I think it was an R.L. Stein Goosebumps book light that I had at high school level, right? That you clip on. Yes. And I'm looking through my plays just so I know when I'm preparing myself for my moment when I get there. Yeah. Ended up playing as a true freshman, scoring the first game of the season, and our second game of the season. Got my first carries in the first game of the season. Of course, I'm third on the depth chart. But I had to, still amazing feat for me, because I was probably, slated to redshirt. Yeah. We had, at that time, excluding JJ and Marshawn, who knew that we were going to play, there was 3 other upperclassmen that I had
were in the running back.
That were already been there. Yeah, that I had to bypass. So ended up going there, playing. So that first year, more special teams. I remember guarding Dwayne Jarrett, I think his name, from USC.
Oh yeah.
Down in the Coliseum, we were playing. I was on special teams. I'm guarding him at he's a gunner, and I'm in the vice.
Did you play special teams in high school?
Yes, returning.
Just a returner. Okay,
yeah, just a return. No punt returns.
But now you're playing corner. Now you're running down at probably gunner.
Yeah. I'm doing everything. I'm in there. Kickoff team, kickoff return.
Yeah, the L2 running down.
Yeah. Was the mentality just, hey, whatever it takes?
Whatever it takes. I'm on the field. I'm getting opportunities. I'm doing well in practice. People noticing. So, I was encouraged. And then JJ, he left. He got drafted. Aaron ended up leaving that year too. And then Marshawn and I, it was just like, I'm gonna be our show. The next couple of years, he ended up leaving, getting drafted. His junior year, and then my senior year, it was my show. It was me, and then there was another guy, younger guy that came in, Javid Best.
Oh yeah,
and Shane Vereen came in at the same time. Yeah. So
that was running back there was like a 10-year period where they were just spitting out running backs.
CJ Anderson followed, and so
I didn't realize Cal was doing that.
So Jeff, you ended up with over 3,000 career rushing yards at Cal, 1,500 yards your senior year. I just did a quick, when I pulled my phone out,
Oh, okay.
I wasn't being rude. I was just making sure I was
okay,
checking
okay.
You
the
sit
stats.
here, had his phone in your face.
You're handling business. There's no judgment here. You know, I was the second option, so I'm thinking, like, this is how we do things.
I was
normal.
just texting our first choice.
Yeah.
But, hey, we're good. We got it covered.
You don't got to come anymore.
But so Marshawn leaves, and you had a tremendous career at Cal. I mean, it was unbelievable what you did. I mean, the impact. Because I remember watching you. I was a year ahead of you.
Did y'all ever play each other?
No. Good for them.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
for them, yeah.
I could see you two meeting in the hole. It not going well for you, Ty Bones.
Yeah.
shaking in my boots.
See, here's the thing. I was a smart DM.
Yeah.
I'm coming down. I'm coming low. I was really good at spilling guards and then taking out ankles, which I guess would be head on with you, right?
Yeah.
But it's a short joke. It's a short joke right there.
I know. I figured one was coming.
That went over my head.
Another one. Dadoosh.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now you're finishing your senior season and going back to Barry Sanders, like, hey, look, that's the goal, man. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the direction, and I'm going to not let my previous circumstances dictate my future. And I'm going to create this life out of the opportunities that I've been given and taken advantage of. So what was that draft process like for you?
Oh man, much of the same criticisms I heard my entire life. It was just at a higher stage, a bigger stage. I went to the Senior Bowl, played in the Senior Bowl, invited to the Combine and all those things. But I remember even when I walked out for Combine, and who was with me? So Forte.
Yeah.
So Forte, we kind of like tied because of our names, Forsett and Forte.
Yeah.
But just me walking out and hearing like I remember when they introduced Justin Forsett, Cal running back, 5'8", 196 pounds, whatever I was at the time. And then I hear a scout say, man, that the shooter's a little fella. And as I'm walking down this aisle, like to be like measured in front of everybody. This one they were like measuring everybody.
This is straight up like cattle call,
Yeah.
meat market.
You're just in your little tights and that's it.
That's
Yeah.
it. You come look at me and it's like, and then then you hear other people, then a Forte comes in and then it's a different story. But yeah, just much of the same. I don't know if you'll make it, a special teams guy. Ended up.
Did the dream, like the good side and the dream of playing, did that motivate you more than negative? What were you more motivated by? Negative comments like that, or the dream and the goal of making it happen?
Man, that's a great question because I wrestle with it even to this day. I say both because one, I was chasing like just a better life, and a better way of life for myself and for my family. And then also, I'm chasing this dream, but I'm also running from a nightmare. So it's this kind of duality of like, man, I got to get there, but I can't stay where I'm at. Like I can't go back to where I'm at. There's no way I'm going back, but I got to get there. That's it. Like if I make it there, I'm good. So it's a combination of both, like me wanting better for myself and knowing that I can't settle for, where I started.
Yeah.
All right, so walk us through draft day, that experience.
So I knew that was 2-day period at that time. So I knew I wasn't going to get drafted the first day. So, I mean, there was a lot of...
Why not, dude? Where did the confidence go? Come on.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the first pick.
Some reality started to kick in,
That college education started to pay off.
Exactly. The information can be bad for your confidence at times. But I knew like there was some. I mean, our class, I still to this feel like it's the best running back class ever. So I think Darren McFadden was the first one off the board. Jamal Charles was in there. Felix Jones was in there. So all these first round running backs, Matt Forte was in the top two.
Yeah, second round.
Yes. So I knew I wasn't going to go first day. And Ray Rice was in that round.
Are you taller than Ray?
We're about the same. We always joked about like he has like a little peak on his head. Like, he has like something like a hump right there that gives him a little bit of an edge. Yeah. But yeah, it was that second day, it was a Sunday.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to church. So we're just waiting to see when my name is going to be called. So I figure, what I've been hearing is like, okay, he's going to be, anywhere early third, but he can be a mid-round guy.
Okay.
So So I'm waiting. No one's calling my name. Watching all these running backs come off the board. Like there was Kevin Smith, guy from UCF, that was coming off the board. There was people getting from Montana was coming off the board. Peyton Hillis was coming off the board. It was all these people.
The fullback?
The fullback, yeah. Everybody. Jacob Hester was coming off the board.
He's the third best running back at his school. Why is he?
So all these people were coming off, and I was just like, man, God, what's going on? Third round goes by, fourth round goes by, fifth round goes by. I was just like, okay, maybe let me just take a nap, and like maybe I'll go to sleep and I'll be awakened by a team.
Some good news.
Good news.
It's like when you're at a restaurant, you're like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom because when I come back, dinner will be here.
Yeah, exactly. It was that mindset. It was just like, okay, let me sleep it off, and woke up 6th round, nothing. Then 7th round hits, and I'm starting getting calls like, hey, we want to come in. Buffalo, Minnesota. It's like, hey, come in as an undrafted free agent. Want to give you a shot.
Oh, so you're getting the undrafted free agent calls already? Yeah, because they start, I guess, in the 7th round.
Yeah. So I'm getting those. I'm just like, God, what's going on? Like I got a great career. Done some numbers, and here we go all over again. Mm-hmm. And it was around. So at the end of the 7th round. I got a call. I was on the phone. My dad was on the phone with Minnesota at the time. I was on the phone with Minnesota with Eric Bieniemy, and then my dad was on the call with Buffalo because Marshawn was at Buffalo at the time, and he's like, "You guys come back together again," and they were selling that angle. There was also another guy running back there at the time. I think it was it was Miller from Michigan. I can't remember his name, his first name, But yeah, they were selling that, and Seahawks call, and they're like, want to talk to Justin. They're telling they had my dad's number, and he was like, man, we're gonna give you a call back. Like we're talking on a call with another team right now, and they were like, he may want to pick this up. We better pick him right now at pick 233. And it was like he gave me the phone, talked to the lady, talked to Coach Holmgren.
Yeah.
And it was.
So they took you.
Yeah, they took me pick 233. A couple of picks from Mr. Irrelevant, but I was taken.
That's awesome, man. So what was that? When you get that, did you care that it was 7th round, or were you just like, man, I just get the opportunity?
I was glad that somebody chose me.
Okay.
I was glad, honestly. Like, at that moment, I was like, okay, somebody wanted me. Mm-hmm. Somebody thought I was worth, a pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's two schools of thought when you're in that scenario. Yeah. Is I would rather go undrafted because now I can pick my scenario.
Sure.
Versus... But you had the mentality.
Here's the thing,
I'd rather be picked.
The thing about that, the people that say that are the people that aren't getting picked.
Right.
Those are the people. Those are the agents. Those are the people that aren't like. As a player, it's like I just want to be picked, just like you said.
I want to see my name go across
the
ticker.
It's a lifelong dream. Yeah, my name's going to cross the ticker.
I didn't see my name go across, but I actually the ticker. I didn't see him announce my name, but I saw my name go across the screen, which was phenomenal. So I was excited, and it was a place in Seattle where I had been before playing University of Washington. Yep. I love overcast days, so that's kind of like my day, my jam. So I was like, this is.
What kind of psycho are you?
Yeah, I'm with you though. I actually prefer that sometimes.
Wow,
for sure. Yeah. Okay. So let's back up real quick. Back to college, meeting Angie. What that interaction, what that the start of the relationship was like, and then where she's at draft day, like where you guys are at relationship wise.
So I met my wife. My freshman year, she was dating a basketball player at the time, and I was dating someone that wasn't playing
someone else.
Sports. Yeah, someone else.
One of those nude protesters.
Yeah, she was a senior. I would say that. So I was an upperclassman at the time, and we were just friends, right? But I knew that there was something there, but I could feel like she was digging me. And I was too, if I'm honest, right? So we were friends, but she was taken at the time, and then I eventually got a girlfriend. So we met at our students because study hall was big. Like after football, you go to study hall. So everybody, all the sports are collected down at the Cesar Chavez building.
See, that's dangerous, man.
Yeah, it's
that's
very dangerous.
Really dangerous, especially coming out of training camp when these guys are extra thirsty.
Oh man, yeah.
It's like the Olympics.
Yeah. So you got so we went down there, me and one of my teammates, Warrior Williams, and we were just like, okay, we weren't doing any learning. We were just going, it's like, who's in here? Like, we want to see who's in here, looking for the girls in there. Ended up seeing the volleyball team at the upper level, and then saw her there. And I think we were making jokes, singing, and doing some other stuff, just like getting attention. And then we connected at that point, and just was really cool, real friends at that moment. And getting together that sophomore year and been together ever since. And when I got drafted, she at that time she was at USA volleyball team. I want to say at that time, so she was training out of Colorado at that point. So she wasn't with me. I was at my parents' house, and but she got the news, and everybody was excited.
When did y'all get married?
So that was 2012. No, I'm sorry, 2010.
10. Okay.
And
Is when y'all got married.
Yeah.
And you got drafted in 9.
08.
8. Okay.
And you said
So we are the same. Oh, because you played 4 straight. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
she's a volleyball player.
Volleyball player. Yeah.
Is she
She's
taller
a
than
savage,
you?
by the way.
Is she taller than you?
No, she's not talking about that. Was the
Hey,
question.
she is an absolute.
Well, the libero, is that the position? Was she a
She
libero?
was outside.
Okay.
Yeah, she had a 40-inch vertical.
What'd you say?
Oh my gosh.
A what'd you say?
Libero is the
Libero,
one
so
with the opposite color or the different color jersey. And
Usually
they're
shorter.
typically a little bit shorter.
Okay.
and
Okay.
More athletic. I guess.
Angel's a beast.
Good.
yes,
Nice. Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So
Your kids
okay.
are
So you
probably
go to
studs.
Seattle. You get married 2 years after you're into the league, and she was still playing volleyball. So
Yeah.
did she ever? I mean, how often was she coming out to Seattle? And then when you got married,
Sparingly. When she was traveling, she was playing overseas too. So our first year of marriage, when we got married, she was 6 months. She was playing in Vienna, Austria. So after the season, I would go over and visit her in Austria. And remember even that time right now, because Friday Night Lights is on Netflix right now. And that was like our show. So we were just watching, because they didn't have TV, right? Like they weren't watching American shows. So we were just on, I don't know what we were, Slingbox. We used back in the Slingbox back then.
Slingbox.
I remember that.
And we were watching Friday Night Lights.
I'm not gonna say that I haven't watched that show 3 times through start to finish, but
amazing,
I'm also
Never seen an episode.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
You really, I mean, I could see you as a Riggins. I see you as a Riggins.
with looser morals.
Yeah. Better
So on the field, what was life like in Seattle, and what did your career look like to start out?
Man, got drafted 7th round. Excited, amazing training camp and preseason, my rookie season. So, like, the sky was the limit. I mean, the Chicago Bears, like, they got me on the team. Like, so thank you to Lovey and everybody
You
else
mean you
out there.
dominated the Chicago Bears?
Oh,
Is that what you
man.
mean?
I was like, I don't know if it had to be some record at the time, but I think I had close to like 300 all-purpose yards.
What?
No way.
For that game.
4th game?
No, it was the 3rd.
Okay.
Third preseason
It was
game.
either 2nd or 3rd.
Okay.
But it wasn't the 4th, because I remember the 4th. You always remember the 4th.
Always remember the 4th.
That was against the Raiders, and that game was the most tired I've ever been in my life.
Yeah. Oh, bro. I played every single year of my career. I played the 4th
Yeah,
preseason game. It is the worst.
Yeah,
Then I was like,
Darren's not here, but he never. I guarantee he never.
never
that
put,
word.
hey,
Yeah,
he never put on shoulder pads.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if he ever took the sweats off that he warmed up in. But it's funny. It's funny you say that. Chicago got me my first job too.
Really?
Preseason. Yeah. When I was with the Browns, and then they ended up signing me. But it was against the Bears.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chicago.
Chicago's a great place.
Made a lot of dreams come true.
Yeah, thank you. Great organization.
So you make the team, which
team, yeah.
just because you
Not
got
guaranteed,
drafted,
yeah, not
just because you get
guaranteed. Especially 7th
drafted
round.
doesn't mean that you're going to make the team. So
And
you
I
ended up.
had like an uphill battle too. So that year, Maurice Morris was the starting running back. That before Sean Alexander was the starting running back, but the backup running back was supposed to be the incumbent like starter, Maurice Morris. But they signed a guy named Julius Jones in free agency and another guy, T.J. Duckett. So I'm the 4th running back that they brought in, and then they just doing a draft pick, and so I had to fight to make that route. Usually, you only keep 3 running backs.
So you were the 2nd running back picked? Were you?
No, I was the only running back.
The only running back drafted. Okay. But they brought in another guy, you said?
Yeah,
a free
they brought
agent?
a free agent. Yeah.
Okay,
from
gotcha.
USC,
Okay.
So I've been a bad father the past few nights. My 4-year-old has been going to bed a little bit later, and a sporadic go-to-bed schedule. And as you know, when kids don't get enough sleep, usually the next day everybody pays for it. And adults are pretty similar. You know, if we don't keep our routines, if we don't keep our bedtimes similar each night and our wake-up times similar, we tend to be tired and groggy the next day. And then if you add on top of that a poor mattress and poor sleep quality because of your mattress, it usually makes for a recipe for, like I said, a bad next day. And that's where Sleep Number comes in. We appreciate Sleep Number and their partnership, and wanted to make you guys aware of their Sleep Number 360 smart beds featuring Sleep IQ technology. Guys, these things are incredible. Think of the Tesla of the mattress world. So much great technology. They can adjust your height while you sleep. It can adjust the coolness and temperature of the mattress while you sleep, all adjusting to your body and your needs, thus making for a great night's sleep. So get yourself to a local Sleep Number store wherever you are, or to sleepnumber.com to check out the Sleep Number 360 smart beds. And like I said, go get yourself a mattress and a great night's sleep. Now back to the episode.
So now, I mean, what does that rookie year end up looking like for you?
So I'm excited. I made the team, made the cut. I remember, oh man, it was kind of like, it was this restaurant called Miss Shirley's. It was me, Red Bryant, and someone else that we're sitting at the.
He's a small individual, isn't he?
Yeah.
Red Bryant, you know who Red Bryant is?
See that D tackle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge, massive man. So we're sitting there, let's like that day, like, oh man, are we going? Somebody call? We don't want anybody to call us from it. You know, at that time, what is it? 425 number.
Yeah. Every time that phone buzzes, it's your heart
don't
stops.
Don't call me, right? So we didn't get a call. So I'm close. We're good. We made the team. He was a fourth round pick at the time. I was 7th round. And then so the first week we go to Buffalo. Yeah. I'm inactive. Okay. And then the second week, that Tuesday, this was our off day. I'm at the barber shop, and I get a call. They're saying, like, Justin, we're going to release you. And we're trying to get you on the practice squad, though, you know, if you clear waivers. Ended up not clearing waivers. So I had a great preseason. Mm-hmm. So I go to Indy. And I'm like, before that, you know, I bought leased the apartment, furniture, everything. My Angie at the time, she came up. My wife came up. My girlfriend at the time, she decorated and got all the nice furniture in there. And so I'm leaving that. Now I'm like, okay, I'm in Indy. And I'm like, okay, well, I always wanted to play for Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy, I grew up in Florida, Lakeland, Florida, where, you know, a couple miles, my dad would take us to training camp for the Bucks. And I watched Warwick Dunn, Warren Sapp, and all those Derrick Brooks. So, and Tony Dungy was the coach. So I was like, oh, well, we love Tony. So, all right, this is where I'm going to finish my career at, in Indy. And then 4 or 5 weeks later, they tried to do the same thing to get me on practice squad, and then Seattle grabbed me back up. So I ended up finishing out my contract in the next 4 years with Seattle.
So you were claimed off waivers by Indy, and then released, and then claimed off waivers back to Seattle. So same rookie contract.
Yep.
Okay. That's wild, man.
Yeah.
That's insane. They tried to outsmart it, but we'll keep him for a week, and then we'll try to sneak him into the practice squad.
Exactly.
Not
That's
gonna
what they
happen.
try to do.
How was it playing with Peyton?
Oh man, unbelievable guy. Smart, hard worker. I never saw anybody like a player like yell at a coach before.
Yeah.
And like to see that as a young, I was like, man,
this is confusing.
Yeah, this is like, he was yelling at my coach, and not just any coach. He was yelling at my coach, and I was just like, wow, this is what it looks like to be that guy, that franchise guy. Yeah. But I mean, my first game, we're playing in Minnesota, which was my first NFL game that I played in the regular season, but also my first NFL game in preseason as well. So I was confident. I was punt returner, which I'd never done in my entire life. I'd never punt return. I never caught punts ever. But there was a fullback of mine, David Kirkman, out of USC at the time. He was like, man, you're good, man, but you gotta do something, especially once you try to go over there and catch some punts, man. Like you gotta do the more you can do. I was like, all right, I'm gonna try it. He's like, man, you need to go over there. So I ended up doing that, and that's what kept me. Like that's what got me. Yeah. So I was catching punts. I was dropping them in practice, but in the games I was catching them. And before every catch, to this day, that's one thing that I'm like really shocked. Like I did that. Like I don't know how in the world.
You know, they say there's no atheist in a foxhole. There's no atheist punt returner. That is a scary 100%.
But even just catching punts, like what people don't. Unless you've done it, that you don't understand as a kicker kicks a ball, and it changes if it's a right footer or left footer, sure. Right? Is it doesn't come straight up and straight down. It's literally like a boomerang kind of. It like arches, and if you're just listening, I'm doing it with my hands. So go on the YouTube and follow the Darren Woodson Show on YouTube, and then watch the episode.
Subscribe, like 5 stars. All
you want to see this, I promise. But it literally, and it comes down at an angle. So you're standing. If you're standing where it looks like it's coming down, you're not going to catch it. No. You got to literally be like a yard or two inside of where you think it's going to land. It's
not to mention you've got 11 grown men running
10
after
and a
you.
half.
10 and a half.
10 and a half.
And the snappers.
But here's the scariest part is you have 20 guys running at you.
For sure,
so whether they have your jersey color on or the other jersey, everybody's running at you.
And they're not coming to be nice about it.
No.
They're coming with bad intentions.
Especially when the rules were just like really open to like you can like take a guy out.
That's right.
And we're not even talking about weather. Right, we're talking about a nice, pristine day. We're not talking about
inside
wind.
Indy.
We're not talking about rain, snow, none of that. So I'm like that was one thing that I picked up that allowed me to get picked up by Indy. So I was the punt returner and I backup running back. So that first game, the game comes down to a wire. Like it is a close game. It was us against the Vikings, and like I'm already like, this is my first game, and every prayer when I was back there, it was the same every time. I said, God, please protect me and protect the ball. And if it's not me, make sure you protect the ball because I cannot give the ball back. Like I cannot drop this ball. That's the main thing, God.
Yes.
So there was times, and if I go back to Google Images, like when I'm catching the punt, like the ball is in my pocket in my hands, and I'm looking this way, like I'm looking away, like at the defense, and it's like it just happened to fall into my in my lap, and at the time the game is on the line, we're down. And down by like 1 or 2 points, so we got to go and get a field goal in order to win the game. Fourth quarter, so I've caught the punts that we've already. I think I may have caught 1 or 2 that we've had, and so now a couple seconds left to go on the clock. Justin, you got to go back there, catch the ball, and again, never in my life have I caught punts in a game, like in a real live game. Preseason I did, of course, but this is like on the line. Yeah. Peyton Manning's my quarterback. Yeah. People are watching on, millions are watching. The Colts are good. Like the Colts are
the team.
Yes,
the team in the AFC.
Yes, for sure. And so I'm going out there. I get the ball, I catch it, shrug off a guy, and I'm running probably like a 40-yard return.
No way.
Set us up to get the for the game-winning field goal. And I'm just like ecstatic, and everybody on the sideline. Like I just met them this week. Like the team, this is my first week with the team, so no one really knows me like that. I have one guy that I played with in college that was there, Matt Giordano.
Gio.
Yeah, Gio, a Fresno guy.
Yep.
So at the end of the game, my locker's right next to Peyton. I don't know how it worked out, but I got dressed right beside him, and he came over to me and was like, Justin, you won that game for us, man. Oh. He was like, I was like, sheesh, Peyton Manning just like.
Could we just please get that on camera? Let's just reenact this. Say it one more time. I've got to
slow it down, please. Talk slow.
Get my Motorola flip phone out real quick.
Exactly.
Man, that's awesome.
And I get on the bus. He's like, man, won't offer him because he was like, one thing. He's like, he took care of his guys. Like he's offering like beer. Yeah. Like I don't drink, but I was like tempted to like try. Like, and then after that,
Peyton Manning offered me a beer. I'm gonna drink a beer.
And then that week, my wife was in town. That following week, and Peyton invited me out with the boys. And this was my girlfriend at the time. She came, and I was like, man, I don't want to be like this, because I'm thinking I'm going to be the only rookie, and this is like a rookie, like, type hazing type deal, and I don't see my girl often because she's traveling and whatnot. So I blew it off. And that's one of the things that I wish I could go back and, like, go out with it, because the next day he's like, man, you should have came out with us, man. We had a good time and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, I don't really have enough money to, because again,
you're one game. You haven't even gotten your full game check yet.
No,
Yeah,
and
you had the 1 week, I guess, the first week from Seattle.
I just broke a lease.
But he was inactive.
yeah.
But you were inactive that game.
Inactive.
Yeah.
But it
Still
does the
get a
same game
check.
check.
Okay.
But yeah, you had expenses, bought furniture, did all that. Yeah.
Yes. Bought a car out there, my first car out there, Tahoe. And so I'm just like very cautious, right? I was like, man, I got to save my pennies. And so he was like, no, man, we're going to take care of everything. I'm just like, oh, missed opportunity. So, you know, a couple weeks later, I'm leaving the barber shop in Indy. And I get a call in from the Colts number, whatever that number is. And it's like, yeah, Justin, we're going to release you. And we're going to try to get you back on the practice squad. We clear waivers. And, yeah, that was my last time in Indianapolis.
So we spent a lot of time on football, and I want to get to post football. But you know, the rest of your career, you went back to Seattle, played out your contract there. Mm-hmm. You know, had good career there. Hasselbeck being the quarterback while you were there and then go to Houston. From there, spent 2 years in Houston. Just 1 year in Houston, then Jacksonville.
1 year.
1 year in Jacksonville, and then Baltimore, right?
Baltimore. Yeah.
Then Baltimore.
So these were just 1 year deals with Houston and with Jacksonville?
2 year deal at Jacksonville, but it was just like, that was like the worst moment in my career.
Yeah.
And
it was a decent deal, right? It was a pretty good deal
going
to.
It was my biggest deal. Yeah. It was a multi-million-dollar.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Contract. Yeah.
Bigger than Baltimore.
But Jacksonville is just such a dumpster
not
fire.
that time.
Yeah.
Jacksonville. Yeah, it was tough.
Who was the coach back then?
Gus Bradley was the head coach, and they were trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
They went like I got injured. I got a turf toe in training camp, and then I got back for regular season for the first game, but I was demoted and I was put on inactive roster fairly early that season. And then when they gave me another chance after begging and pleading my case. You know, I went out, got the first catch of the game, and then broke my foot. So I was out for that, and then got cut. And then, and thankfully, Kubiak went to Baltimore after being fired from Houston as the offensive coordinator.
That's right, because the year after you left, year after we both left, they had a really rough year.
Yeah, they had a really rough year. Yeah,
and that was crazy. And then so
then I went to Baltimore, and
got it.
That's when I had my best years. And got a big contract.
Crush it in Baltimore, Pro Bowl running back. Then you ended up in Detroit for a little bit, right?
Yeah, those are cups of coffee, really. A couple weeks.
Yeah.
So actually a couple months in Detroit. So I got cut from Baltimore in week 5, and then went up to like.
But so one thing to note, you broke your arm in
the second year
in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. After your Pro Bowl year, right? Okay, so after that injury, then they released you. Was that right?
So I broke my arm in 2015. That's that second season in Baltimore. I came back for the next season, and then they cut me during the next season.
Okay.
I asked for my release.
Okay. Yeah, it was time.
And they obliged.
But again, the point I want to say is like the journey was never easy for you. It was never just, hey, look, man, sign a big deal. You're the hometown hero. You were everywhere you went. You had to earn, and you had to contribute in whatever way possible, right? And it was fun watching you in Baltimore because having played with you in Houston, seeing all the work that you put into it, man, your passion, the locker room presence that you had. I mean, this dude just handing out free body wipes to everybody because that locker room stank until he came in and he fixed it.
Freshen it up.
And we'll get there about that. But it was never easy, man. And you were just, your resilience was amazing. Yeah. It was amazing to watch.
Yeah, and something I'm always fascinated by is when the person who's been after this goal for so long, when they finally achieve it, when it finally happens for them, does it feel as good as they played it up in their head? Now, obviously, your career may not have been Barry Sanders, but you made it to the NFL. You played 9 seasons, which is unbelievable from where you come from. So how did the reality match up with what you had dreamed your whole life?
Man, it was so overwhelming. I remember because I was during that 2014 season, that was the breakout year, and that I had my first year in Baltimore. I remember I was playing the Panthers, and this was kind of like maybe week 7, and I was doing like I'm a top 5, top 3 rusher at the time doing that part of the season. It ended up being a top 5 rusher, but this game, I'm like sheesh, I run through the tunnel. I'm a starter being announced to the stadium, and I'm killing right now. Steve Smith, that was his comeback game against the Panthers, and he was just, crushing it.
Yeah.
But I'm also like doing my thing. I scored a touchdown, and I'm on the sideline. I just had a moment. I'm just like almost to tears thinking about like, man, how did I get here? Like, God is good. Like, I'm out here and I'm having fun. I'm like Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis and all those guys, and I'm just like running through them.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just like having fun, and it was a blessing, man. I was just overwhelmed.
Who did you think about in that moment? Like, or maybe not literally in that moment, but who were the people that your mind took you to?
It was just
when
like,
you were reflecting.
It was moments throughout my life. It was room 108. It was that motel room. It was that Notre Dame rejection. It was, being released by Seattle, and being that Jacksonville moment, being fired there. That I've been fired 3 times at that point in my career, and it was like, man, God is faithful. I'm so blessed. There's a level of gratitude that I just couldn't contain, and then finished up with a Pro Bowl season.
That's amazing. All right.
Cool.
So we mentioned that little stint in Detroit, but it's time to transition to what's next. You had 2 kids at this point?
Yeah.
2, okay.
Retirement.
And then y'all decide, okay, hey, we're gonna move to Texas, which is interesting because your brother was still in Dallas, right?
Yeah, my brother was still, the older brother was still in Dallas. My parents are still in Dallas.
Oh, your parents are
Arlington.
okay.
Yeah.
They are still here. All right. But decided, hey, look, this is going to be home for us. But what was next for you? And I'd mentioned those body wipes, and you'd already had a little hustle going while you were playing. So talk us through that transition for you. Okay, walking away from the game. Were you at peace when you said, hey, it's time?
Oh yeah, I was ready. To move on what was next. I remember even in meetings, taking notes, especially in Jacksonville when I wasn't playing. I was like building out like my speaking story, and they were talking about 2-jet protection and scan and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, this is what I need to do for like intro, for talk and closing remarks, and this is what I need to do for my business. And, I had to. At one time, we were just one product at that time. It was called Shower Pill. And so just a solution for when a shower is optimal but not possible. So
tell them why you call it a shower pill.
So shower pill was an NFL locker room term. It was a joke. So guys skip showers. You say, hey, I'm taking a shower pill, bro. Don't judge me. So it wasn't like a real pill.
These guys just being stank. Just take a shower pill.
Yeah. These guys walking around stank in the locker room. Yeah. And I was just okay with it. And even on times like Saturday practice, light practice, guys were like, okay, I'm taking a shower pill because I'm going to go home and shower. Like we had a 45-minute walkthrough.
Yeah.
So that pain point turned into a business. So it's like there's got to be other people out there that are like short on time, that want to be able to clean up, like hand sanitizer, but for the body. And so we created a product. It's a disposable washcloth that removes sweat, dirt, and body odor. Put it on Amazon. That was the first platform that we had at the time. It was still growing. It's not what it is today, but it was a big presence. And then local stores. So even during my time in Seattle, I would leave practice and go to local running shops and cycling shops, and that was my hustle. So I was doing that, bouncing from team to team, introducing the product from every community I was in, going to these local businesses and pitching. And so when I retired, I knew I was full time at the time with the business and trying to grow that and do my speaking thing.
Did you realize how much work it was going to take to build the business? And how much time it was going to take. And I know you've got partners that you went to college with.
Yep.
But did you realize, because for me, it was like, man, I put so much time and effort. There's no way anything can be harder than what I did here.
Yeah.
Did you expect that?
No. And neither did my wife. But that's another topic. I'm way more busy now than I ever was playing football. I didn't realize how much time we had as football players.
Yes.
Actually.
Yeah.
I would love that schedule right now.
My wife and I talk about that all the time. Like, sure would be nice to have 6 weeks off right now.
Yeah.
Or, hey, this 4-week gap between training camp, that'd be sweet. Oh, wait, I only have to work out. I got to work out from 11 to 1:30.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or even a Tuesday. How about just a Tuesday?
Yeah, right.
We can just
It's not like
get home at 2:30.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to us about, because this can resonate with a lot of people. You're in a job, but you have a side hustle. How did you, because you want to give and be dedicated to your main income, when your main job, which was the NFL at the time, but you also had this side passion and this something that you really wanted to make work. How did you navigate the waters of those two?
Well, I never compartmentalized my greatness. Like I don't think you can do that.
That's an all-time quote right there, by the way.
I don't think that, at least I didn't think I was built to just be great at one thing. Like I knew that I had, great talents, to play in the NFL, but I also want to be a great father. I want to be a great husband. I want to be a great businessman. And like, I may not be able to devote the same time to each of those things, but the same tenacity, the same vigor, the same effort, I should be pursuing those things in the same manner. So, so when I had time, I devoted it because I devoted my time to and effort to what was next, that next chapter outside of sports.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. All
Yeah,
right, so
great
started out as Shower Pill. You're wearing a shirt right now. Again, for those of you that are just listening, go on to YouTube, The Darren Woodson Show. Give us some comments. Give us some likes. Subscribe. That whole thing. Anyways, but he's wearing a shirt now, Hustle Clean. Talk us through where Shower Pill evolved and what you've taken it from retirement. You and your team have taken it since.
Yeah, so Shower Pill, it was a solution for when that shower was optimal, not possible. So on-the-go hygiene where you're out camping, hiking, or leaving the gym, want to work out through the middle of your day, have access to a shower, use our body wipes. So we knew once we got validation from the Targets of the world where, we're in all of their stores, it was like, okay, this consumer needs more products. Like this person that was very goal-oriented, driven, motivated, had side hustles, but want to pursue the best version of themselves. They needed other products to allow them to keep going, to extend their adventure, to extend their dreams. So we wanted to create products that a full assortment of care to take care of those needs, and that's where Shower Pill was very limited and just okay, that term and that product would take us to a certain level, but if we wanted to ever expand and scale this thing, we had to be something bigger, and we had to become a brand. So that was that transition from product to brand where we are now. It's Hustle Clean, where we're creating convenient products with clean ingredients for this active consumer that's on the go, this active lifestyle, and that looks like whether that's hand sanitizer, body wipes, face wipes, lotion, body washes, things like that. Where we're taking care of this person.
So on the go, so you throw it in a little tote, and hey, throw it in my gym bag, and this is what I got to use if I got to jump in the shower somewhere. Or okay.
You mentioned your schedule's way crazier now than it was when you played. So walk us through what does the day look like for an entrepreneur or business owner?
Well, I try to Hustle Clean is a self-care brand, so I have to live what I preach. We want to preach to our customer and our followers that holistic greatness. We want people to not only take care of their bodies, but their minds and their spirits. So it's not okay to be, a great entrepreneur, business person, but also a terrible spouse. So that means you got to devote, you got to prioritize, work. There has to be some prioritization in your self-care, your family, your community. So my day, it looks like me waking up. I start with prayer and devotion, meditation, and then I work out. And then I start my day with work, whether that's on a Monday, we have our forecast call, and I do a devotion with my team on Monday with people in the company. And then that follows by a task meeting where we're just kind of getting together and just looking at roadblocks, things that we need to accomplish throughout the week. And then going through meetings, whether it's vendors, partners, strategy, just different rollouts of different SKUs or products that we may have, and solving problems. Literally, my business partner, he's a firefighter, and I was he's never stopped being a firefighter because that's entrepreneurship. It's how to problem solve and put out fires and have that mental toughness to persevere through obstacles. So it's a lot of that, solving problems throughout the day. You may find me, whether I'm taking the kids, picking up the kids from school through a portion of the day. I'm coaching my son in flag football. I'm taking the other kids. We have 4 kids right now, so and one on the way. So we're doing.
See that competitive nature? He's like, well, Cletsy's got 4. I got to have 5.
Can't compartmentalize my greatness.
Exactly, man. So doing that, then I also lead a life group. My wife leads a life group for the church.
All right, Tyler, I never want to hear you say you're busy.
That's what I'm saying.
Ever again.
We do a number of different things. and trying to get some downtime with the wife is also important. So.
Do you guys have a structure like, hey, every Tuesday we're going to go on a date night? Do you guys do anything structured like that, or is it just?
Especially in the pandemic. So we had it before the pandemic, but I hate to put a time on your show, but I was the second second option. So,
so I'm gonna do what I want.
But
this is the Justin Forsett show now.
But yeah, I mean, we're definitely trying to carve out time right now, and it's like making sure. Because we got baby 5 on the way, we want to make sure that we know.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing for me personally is making that, because everything gets all this attention and you forget about the spouse, and the spouse can quickly become a roommate really fast, or just somebody that you live with while you're trying to accomplish all these other things. So,
or lack of a better term, a side chick to your other hustles.
There you go. That's a great,
that's true.
So we see a lot of, I've got a lot of people that in their pursuit to greatness. Their wives have been mauled in the process of grind up in the process of the pursuits of our dreams. So just trying to be intentional about the time that we have and with one another is important.
When you think about your goals and aspirations for this new business, how does it compare? Like, did you ever think you could have a second love like this, like you did for football, and a goal and a dream to accomplish?
No, I didn't. I didn't think it to this level. The passion that I have for, like selling personal care products to people is cool. But, we feel like we have, like, we're not like just a company with a mission, but we're a mission that just so happens to be a company. So we are very intentional about helping and having impact, like whether it's putting on workshops for other minority entrepreneurs that just don't have the information or resources to thrive in this space, we do that. Whether it's activations or community service events like Haiti, where we have there's opportunities when disaster hits where our product is great use. When you don't have water, when people don't have access to clean water, they can use our product to clean up. So we've been in Flint, Michigan. We've been in Haiti, as of recently Houston. We've been in Uganda with Johns Hopkins Hospital. So we've been in a number of these places where we've been able to say, oh man, we've been able to help and change people's lives, and even the homeless communities here with our products, with our Shower to the People campaign. And then Free Play is another initiative, our mission of ours, where we see youth sports athletes that have been priced out of sports. So this day and age, I wouldn't have been able to play in some of these youth sports activities because I just couldn't be able to afford like the travel and some of the other resources that you need to play. So we sponsor kids and we give them equipment, we give them money in order to allow them to chase their dream in sport.
That's awesome.
So those things like that, it's like, man.
That's much bigger than just the cleaning products that you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just a vehicle. Like, I feel like God has placed this in my hand to carry out what's in my heart, and that's to glorify His name and to have an impact while I'm here on earth.
What about standing out in a crowded market? This is something that we hear a lot about. How do you go about that? Because everybody's got a phone. There's so much attention. It's an attention game. How do you guys stand out?
Being yourself. You're not going to be able to stand out trying to be someone else. Like, I can't go out and say I want to be Harry's or I want to be Dollar Shave Club, because they have different skill sets. They have different talents. They have different gifts. Like, we stand out because we are uniquely ourselves. Like, we're radical about serving. We're minority owned. We have great products for this specific consumer that we know and understand, and partnerships within this community. We understand the lingo and the needs. So we lean heavy into that. We lean into that heavy. So just being ourselves is what we try to.
That's a great lesson, man.
Amazing. Well, Justin, man, we appreciate the time today. Appreciate you. I know, obviously, we walked through your schedule. You got a lot going on.
Yeah. Where can people find the product? Yeah. Where can the people find you personally?
Yeah. So you can find the product, Target, all across the country. We're in Walmart. We are on Amazon and hustleclean.com.
Awesome.
Go direct.
Yeah.
Just go direct to them.
I was going to say, it probably helps you. Helps you more.
You can go to Target too. We
Target.
Target.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good partner. Yeah, I hear you. That's awesome. And then where can they find you? So you mentioned speaking, and I've been there when you spoke. And so any company out there, if you've heard this today, I mean, Justin is as good as there is at sharing his testimony, but making it relevant to your company. How can they reach out to you for speaking engagements?
Yeah, Jay Forsett on all of the platforms on social media, and then I have a speaking website, justinforsettspeaks.com.
Perfect. I love it. We're gonna hit you with one more question.
Hit me.
But again, thank you and congrats on number 5.
Thank
I
you.
will be praying for you.
Yeah.
for
Come on,
sure.
man. We'll be waiting for you guys.
When's the due date?
We've been planning a barbecue now for 5.5 years.
Yeah.
We're gonna get it on.
Yeah.
We're gonna actually make it happen.
We only see each other at one conference each year,
Yeah.
outside of Texas.
Outside.
Outside of Texas.
We gotta go outside of Texas to see each other.
Yeah, exactly.
When's the due date?
November 23rd.
November 23rd.
Oh, boom. Oh, right quick. I forgot. Dang.
And boy, girl, what's
I don't
what's
know.
coming?
You know, I got to do a gender reveal here
Oh,
sometime
okay.
soon. I got an idea, so keep you.
Y'all
5
waited
kids.
though on that thing.
Yeah, I know. It was just bad timing.
It's
I'm doing
fine.
Too busy.
Dude, it's number 5. Dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, last question, we ask every guest this, and I think you alluded to it earlier, so you may have already answered, but this goes back to your journey. If you could go back to any point in your life and tell yourself one thing, doesn't necessarily mean you go change anything, but if you just go back and just tell yourself one thing, where do you go and what do you say?
Ooh, one thing? Sheesh. Justin, 1, you're enough. And then 2, boxes are for things, not people. So don't allow anybody to place you in one.
Let's screw that mic and drop it.
180 episodes in, best answer we've gotten.
Boom.
That was awesome.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate
Thanks
you.
for sharing that. Appreciate you. Love you, brother.
Love you too,
And
man.
all the best. Hustle Clean, Jay Forsett. Go get their products. Go support him. And he's, as you get to know him today, man, he's one of the greatest men alive. So
I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.